plaintiff, Eleanor Mendoza, says her younger brother abused drugs for years, and 18 years ago, he passed away. Eleanor claims 3 years ago she discovered that the defendant may be his biological daughter, so she petitioned the court for a DNA test. Defendant Bianca Brown and her mother, Linda Houston Douglas, say the only thing Bianca ever knew about her father was that he was an alcoholic. And the one time he saw her, he wouldn't even make eye contact with her. Bianca's eager to find out the truth today.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
And we're here. You all have petitioned the court for a DNA test, is that correct? To determine whether you all are siblings? Is that what we're determining today?
No, sir, Your Honor. I petitioned the court for a DNA test because I want to find out if Bianca is my niece, the daughter of my baby brother, Alvin Bruce.
You look so young, I didn't know you could have a niece. That's why I said that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Right.
It's such a privilege to meet you. Thank you.
Well, give me some background on the case here.
Well, I'm the oldest of 4 children, and I had 3 younger brothers. And back in 2018, one of my brothers, the oldest of the 3, contacted me because he was so surprised. He wanted to know if I knew that our baby brother, who at that time was deceased, had been for about 18 years, if I knew whether he had had another daughter. We knew that he had one daughter from his marriage earlier, from when he had been divorced many, many years before. But after my parents had raised us up in Chicago, and then we all moved, most of us moved back to Mississippi and everything, my brother, Alvin Bruce, the youngest one, he lived a life of drugs.
Where, in Chicago?
Well, he had moved back to the South, and at this time he was...
Where did he get on drugs? In Chicago?
He started in Chicago,
I know
yes,
it.
sir.
We were doing fine before we moved up north, black people. We were down in the South. Well, we weren't doing fine because we had so much racism and oppression. But our values, we were going to church. We were going to get our education down in Mississippi and Alabama and Georgia. Time they tell us they got a few jobs up north. Not a few jobs, we needed those jobs. You had mass migration.
Yes, sir.
Folks from Mississippi came to Chicago. Alabama came to Detroit. South Carolina went to New York. And all of these were based on train routes, the trains that would take you up. And so they came up to Detroit, came to New York, came to Chicago, and let them put them on drugs. Doing all right down there in the South. Who would you rather be, a victim of racism or a victim of drug addiction? We came up here up north and we're both. We had drugs and racism, but a lot of folks have gone back to the South now, black folks. And don't come back to the South bringing that mess down there. Like Detroit didn't brought that down to Atlanta. Everybody in Atlanta known that from Detroit or some other crime-ridden city. Down there making fuss in Atlanta and Georgia, some good senior citizens that lived down there all their life. They did come up to the north, worked in those factories, went back down there to relax, and here you criminals gonna follow them back down there. Am I right or wrong? You know your brother. What do they do when they get down there in Mississippi? How do they do?
Well, he continued, hanging out with the wrong crowd, even though that's not the way our parents had raised us and everything, but he hung out with the wrong crowd. So, we wouldn't keep in close touch because he was hanging around with the wrong people. He struggled with his addiction. I think it was mostly crack and heroin. And so since he was in Memphis, I remember one year after then, our family had a family reunion there in Memphis. So I thought, well, I hadn't seen him in a long time because I wanted to see him. I just wanted to do what I could to help him. And so when we were there for the reunion, I asked one of my cousins to take me, since my brother didn't show up for the reunion. I said, take me where he's living. I want to see him and see where he's living. So he took me, and it looked like it was just nothing but a crack house. And when I saw him, I hardly even recognized him. And I just pleaded and begged him to, get some help and try to straighten out. But he always kept telling me when he would call me, every time he'd go to jail for little petty things, but he would tell me that he wasn't ready to be straightened out. So, it was hard for me to keep up with him and everything, but, I know he wasn't an angel. But inside, I know he was a kind, loving, sweet person, and I hated to see him living his life like that. And basically, I knew he would never hurt anyone. So that's why, I tried to prepare myself for it. But lo and behold, in about 2000, the year 2000, I got a phone call from the Memphis morgue telling me that he had been brutally murdered. And I was trying to plan to have a funeral service for him back in Chicago where we had been raised. And at that time, the morgue told me, they said, ma'am, you don't understand. He said, there is nothing for us to ship. He said that if it hadn't been for your brother being in and out of the system where they had a record of his fingerprints, that was the only way we could identify him. And the morgue attendant told me that he felt like his death was drug related because he had seen a lot of cases like that back when he had been a morgue attendant in New York. So I was just really, devastated and everything. But we did end up having a memorial for him in Chicago. So that's why when Bianca contacted me in 2018, when she contacted me and my brother, I was a bit hesitant. One of my brothers, the oldest of the three, contacted me because he wanted to know if I knew that our baby brother, who at that time was deceased, had been for about 18 years, if I knew whether he had had another daughter.
Plaintiff Eleanor Mendoza believes the defendant may be her brother's biological daughter, but he's been deceased for 18 years. So Eleanor petitioned the court for a DNA test.
How did she contact you? How?
Well, she called my brother. She said that she found his information on Facebook. And so my brother didn't know what to do. He wondered if I knew anything about Bruce having another daughter. And I said, no. I said, but I'll contact her and, see what we can do, because she lived closer to me. And I figured I could meet her and, we could bond and everything if she was really my niece. But, I've watched your show so many times and everything, even though she said her mother told her that my brother was her dad. I thought, well, maybe it's a good idea to get a DNA. And I told Bianca that. But I really, I want to accept her and put my emotions all out there and be there for her. And I told other family members about her and everything. And my other niece has been in touch with her and everything. We all are ready to embrace her, but we really need to know, whether or not she truly is my brother's daughter.
Certainly.
And why she waited so long to contact us.
Well,
I would really like to know that.
She's going to tell us, but let me also apologize if I put your brother in a bad light or if I played with that a little. However, it did give us an opportunity to give that lesson about migrating up north, where all the drugs were and the addictions and the guns that came along with that. And so, I don't know, and nowadays we got all the guns up here and in the South. So I'm gonna go to Mars. All right, young lady, let me hear from you. Give me some background. Stop looking so mad. What you mad about, Miss Brown?
I'm not
This is a
mad.
good day. This is supposed to be a good day.
Well, growing up, I didn't know my dad at all. Like, only to go on what my mom told me. She did tell me that he was an alcoholic, and that's basically what I knew. And she would always, like I would always tell her, like, could I go live with him? Where is he? And, you know, stuff like that. But she would always tell me that he didn't want me. And so I guess when I was around 8, I finally seen him, like, for the first time. We were at the mall, and he would only talk to my mom. He wouldn't say anything to me. He wouldn't even look my way. He would talk to her. He didn't acknowledge me at all. She told him, here's your daughter, would you speak to her? He never did. And it hurt me. But in my little mind, I still felt like that was my dad, and I still loved him. So as I got older, like, I would still question her, and she would still tell me the same thing. So once I got grown, I say around 23, I decided to look for him. And I had no luck. So I gave up. And I guess around age 28, I kind of decided to go back and try to find him. So that's when I went off the website, and I started to look and paid money to find him. And when I finally found him, I seen a whole list of relatives that he had. And so I just started calling numbers. And one number I called, he eventually reached back out to me like a month later and told me that he did know my dad and that he was his brother. So that's when he kind of pushed me off to Eleanor. He gave me her number, and I called her and talked to her.
All right, and so now we kind of clear on that. Eleanor, she was asking Mama over and over for many, many years, and then attempted once she came into adulthood. And you believe Eleanor is your aunt?
Yes.
All right, and what do you think, Eleanor? You think that she's your niece?
I believe she is. I see a family resemblance. You know, she sent me pictures of her children on my phone, and I thought they resemble our family.
Okay.
And, you know, I hope she is my niece. Got a phone call from the Memphis morgue telling me that he had been brutally murdered. And I mean, I was trying to plan to have a funeral service for him back in Chicago. And at that time, the morgue told me, they said, ma'am, you don't understand. He said, there is nothing for us to ship.
Plaintiff Eleanor Mendoza believes the defendant may be her brother's biological daughter, but he's been deceased for 18 years. So Eleanor petitioned the court for a DNA test.
Who was with you here today, Ms. Brown? Is that your security or, huh?
My mom.
Looking meaner than you. Okay. Yeah, all right. You have anything you want to say? Nothing, just security? So if it's not true, who you gonna jump on? Your daughter?
Do I have anything to say? Well, I'm sure he's the father, and I mean.
All right. Everybody's sure, and we're gonna make it official. Is that what we're looking to do? All right. Well, let's make it official. You all are related.
All right.
There you have it. God bless you. Have a good day. God bless you all.
Thank you, Judge Mathis.
Thank you.
I told you.
You did. And I believed you, but I just wanted to make it official. Thank you so much, sweetie, for being so patient with us. I love you. And I'm looking forward to getting to know you more and being there for you and your kids.
I want to know, like, what's going to change. Like, since we found out the results, like what's going to be different.
Well, hopefully we can stay in closer touch, and really get to know each other and be there for each other emotionally and everything. At least I don't feel like I have to hold back because of not knowing. You're my brother's daughter, and I accept you fully for that. I love you and your children too. I'm looking forward to getting to know all of you.